This guy went from high school dropout, a nobody, to a disciplined athlete who shot up the rankings and became a UFC champion. Haters will talk about his crazy hair or the face tattoos, but at one point this guy was a loser, who, to be fair, kind of looked like your high school drug dealer, but now has an 18-1 record with his only loss coming from a mid-fight injury.
Welcome to the Sugar Show! My show!
If you can't learn something from someone like this, you're being close-minded. And the mindset and decisions he made along the way are really unique. So today, we're breaking down 5 lessons from Sean O'Malley on how to reinvent yourself and go from loser to best in the world.
Sugar Sean O'Malley, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all.
If you're new here, my name is Ben, and this is where I break down the non-obvious lessons from great warriors and thinkers. I'm not some super educated PhD, but I study these people all the time. And after seeing the benefits of martial arts in my own life, I wanted to keep learning and sharing those lessons with others. But enough about me, let's get into the video. When Sean was growing up, he hated school.
I want to go back to the beginning. You grew up in Montana. Did not see that coming.
Yeah.
Okay? You don't want to go to college. You decide to go to Phoenix. And why Phoenix?
Yeah, I didn't want to go to elementary school. I remember being like fighting that because it was like the half days in kindergarten. I hated school from day one.
So we took the first step, which is our lesson 1 in reinventing yourself. Decide you want to change.
But when you dropped out, you knew for sure it was fighting. I'm dropping out to fight, or was it like I'm gonna drop out and figure out what I'm gonna do?
I would rather be training than at school. So
Yeah.
it was like I would rather be doing this than going to school. So
Yeah,
it was specifically I wanted to be at kickboxing. I wanted to be doing something that I wanted to be doing. Dude, I hated school so much.
Now, here's the trap people fall into. They think deciding to change means you're gonna wake up the next day with unlimited willpower and be a totally different person. And then they get mad when that doesn't happen and give up. Your commitment will grow over time. I remember when Goggins first started working out, he said he'd run a quarter of a mile and then give up and go back home. And that's David Goggins. The key is committing to it long enough to see some results. Once you get some momentum, you'll want to keep going. And the more you commit, the better your results. We already mentioned that Sean hated school, but there's one thing he loved: fighting.
I just want to keep getting better, keep training, just keep getting better. I love to fight. They'll give me who they give me.
Nothing but respect. I love this game. I love the talk. I love the media. And I love everything about this sport. And I love you, Joe Rogan.
If you want to change your life in a dramatic way, the second most important thing here is find what feels like work to others, but feels like play to you. What do you love so much that you rarely have to push yourself to go do it? You just want to do it. And it's okay if you haven't found this yet. It takes a while. For many people, it's years or even decades. But here are some questions to reflect on to help you figure out what that might be. 1, what gives you a ton of energy when you do it? You leave feeling even more energized than when you started. 2, what did you do with your free time when you were little? For example, I would always be filming and editing videos and reading a ton of books. 3, who are the people you admire? What do they work on? That can be a sign. 4, what does your mind wander to when you're showering or driving? Is there something you constantly daydream about? 5, and the last one, what are some things others complain about or dread that you enjoy doing? Sean knew MMA was his thing, so it made it a lot easier for him to go all in. There's a simple but profound saying that I love. If you don't want to slip, don't go where it's slippery. When Sean decided he wanted to pursue MMA, he had to leave behind the old habits of his small town. He moved from middle of nowhere Montana to a top gym in Arizona. If you're serious about making a change in your life, it's often helpful to put some distance between yourself and your usual crowd, at least for a little while. Not forever, but lesson 3 is if there are old habits holding you back, it's wise to put distance between yourself and those old habits. This might mean cutting off toxic people or even friends who aren't on the same path. And since I love examples, I'll drop a list of some other ways you can create distance here. But the caveat here, and this is important, is you don't want to leave everyone behind. The best people lift up their friends and families and communities with them, like how Sean inspires and gives back to others.
I just would love to give you this. Merry Christmas.
You're lying, right?
No,
Are you serious?
yes, Merry Christmas.
Are you serious?
Of course.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are you serious? This is a joke?
No. Merry Christmas.
But you have to be in a good spot first for any of that to work. And sometimes that means taking a step back to work on yourself. All right, now it's time for a pivot. The first 3 lessons were all about getting started. But once you're started, is there anything we can learn from Sean about how to become someone that others respect and admire? Turns out there is. But I want to stress here that aiming to be admired by others is not a good goal. I will never push that here. Usually just leads to fakeness and a fragile ego. But what Sean does so well in our lesson 4 is he is unapologetically himself.
Who you got in a tag team match? Ireland versus Russia, Ewan McGregor versus Khabib, and Hasbulla.
Well, I could probably take out Khabib. So Conor would take out Hasbulla.
You scared of Hasbulla?
I wouldn't fight him.
Why not?
Well, he'd take me out, chop me down.
The mistake a lot of people make if they want others to like them is they change themselves to try and hide the parts that they're worried other people won't like. So they become elevator music. No one hates them, but no one loves them either because there's nothing special about them. They have no personality. Instead, Sean is polarizing.
I find people's chins. That's what I'm saying. I find people's chins. I do. And I'm going to find Merab's chin. He's a huge head, a huge nose. It'd be hard for me. I could try to not hit him, and I'd still accidentally probably hit him. That's how huge his head is.
Some people hate him, yeah, but a lot of people love him. You want to find what makes you, you. Your sense of humor, your ideal style, your values, your interests, and then share that with the world. Plenty of people hate Conor McGregor or John Danaher or even Gandhi, but even more people love them because of who they are and what they stood for. And this works even if you're not a famous fighter, since I'm guessing most of us aren't in the UFC. But in everyday life, you're gonna meet a lot of people, and you'll attract the same energy that you give off. So if you tell people about the cool self-improvement book that you've been reading, or the new jiu-jitsu move that you just learned, or how you've been getting into cold plunges, you're gonna attract people who are into that. But if you hide that, if you hide the stuff you love because you're worried others will think it's weird, you'll end up with friends who don't really like you for you. They like this fake persona of you. Being a fighter might be the most stressful job ever. You're fighting other trained killers in your underwear with a high risk of injury in front of millions of people around the world. How do you deal with all of that? Part of it comes down to the mindset of reframing how you see losses.
For me, I think another thing that I have an advantage of in the mental department is I'm not afraid to lose. When I look at losing, I look at it as a chance to go through adversity. When that whole USADA thing came about, it's like I felt like I just took a L. I just lost. Like I just got suspended for something I didn't fucking do.
Right.
But I was able to figure out how to make it a positive thing, training wise, my relationships wise, just learning a lot about myself. So if I lose a fight, I'm like, okay, now we just got some shit to deal with. So I think being able to look at it with that mindset helps me go into not be getting nervous in fights.
A large part of the fear and anxiety that we carry around is because we're so scared of failure. We're worried about looking stupid in front of other people. But we never define failure or think about what it really means. If your goal is growth, then doing something that doesn't work isn't a failure, it's just a lesson in things that don't work. Or if you're a comedian and you tell a joke that bombs, you didn't fail, you just learned what jokes don't land. It makes you smarter for next time so you can improve faster. So lesson 5 is reframe failure so you win even when you lose. I'll drop a bunch more examples of some reframes I've made for common failures you might come across. So here are the 5 lessons from Sean. Love you guys. I'll see you next time.